The New World Order.
Those are the roots of trouble.
I imagine that right now you're feeling a bit like Alice, tumbling down the rabbit hole. Let me tell you why you're here. You're here because you know something. What you know you can't explain, but you feel it. You felt it your entire life. That there's something wrong with the world. You don't know what it is, but it's there, like a splinter in your mind, driving you mad. It is this feeling that has brought you to me. This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. All I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
For we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on covert means for expanding its sphere of influence, on infiltration instead of invasion, on subversion instead of elections, on intimidation instead of free choice, on guerrillas by night instead of armies by day. It is a system which has conscripted vast human and material resources into the building of a tightly knit, highly efficient machine that combines military, diplomatic, intelligence, economic, scientific, and political operations. Its preparations are concealed, not published. Its mistakes are buried, not headlined. Its dissenters are silenced, not praised. No expenditure is questioned, no rumor is printed, no secret is revealed. But I am asking your help in the tremendous task of informing and alerting the American people.
And now, welcome to another episode of Down the Rabbit Hole. Here's your host from federaljack.com. It's Popeye.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another live edition. It is June 25th, 2014. Those of you that were trying to listen to me last night, I had apparently some technical issues, and I took Skype out to the backyard and shot it after the show last night, so I took care of that. It is now fixed. And, I'll be just redoing the whole show next week. I'm not even going to bother trying to piece anything together. The entire first hour was lost. Sometimes it happens. Sometimes, even when you have backups recording on multiple ends, sometimes it just does not work and it fails. And that's apparently what happened last night. So I'm just going to redo the whole broadcast because it's actually a really important broadcast. So I'm going to redo it next week for you all. So make sure you pay attention for that. Anyway, tonight is going to be a very interesting night, to say the least. I have a couple things I want to go over. I want to tear apart. Tomorrow I have, if everything goes according to plan, I have a member of Open Carry Texas coming on for 2 hours. We're going to discuss, the group, open carrying, guns, gun control, gun rights, whatever. I'm actually going to get into that a little bit tonight. Kind of two things butt up against each other. Gun control and the police state. They go hand in hand. We all know this, but this at least, the thing I want to bring up tonight is actually something I mentioned last night, but you guys didn't get a chance to hear it. So I only went into it briefly, but I'm gonna elaborate on it in a little bit. But anyway, there's a bunch of things I want to get out. But first, before I forget, because I know I'm going to get involved in the police state news and everything else, and then I'll forget about this. I like to give my airtime to people that can use it and need it to help get their message out. You know that. I like to help people. What's the point of even doing this if you're not helping anybody? Right? I mean, yeah, you might listen to what I say and that might help you to a certain extent, but that's not satisfactory for me. To me, I actually like to know that I physically made a difference and was able to help somebody in their lives. So, that being said, I came across, somebody sent this to me a couple weeks ago, and I've been meaning to shoot like a YouTube video for it, which I've done for other people, and I'm going to, but I wanted to mention this on air. And I'll drop the link in the chat room. I have to go over to the chat room, actually. I'm not even in there yet. I have to I have to actually go over and say hi to all the chatters in there, and I actually have to get into the chat room so I could drop the link. But it's for a veteran who he's terminally ill. He's dying, and they're trying to raise some money to help pay his bills. Basically, they're trying to raise some money to help him pay off whatever medical bills and survive until the end. So I've been really meaning to talk about this, and it's just so much crap that we get into. I keep forgetting to talk about it, and this is really important. I mean, to me, this is very important. If I keep refreshing it, and they're just trying to raise $5,000, and they've only raised $100. It's like nobody knows about this. Somebody probably shared it on Facebook once or twice, and it's got 85 days left, and they've only raised $100. If everybody gave like $5 or $10 to this dude, you could help a lot. You'd be surprised if 50 people gave $10. That'd be more than what he's got now, wouldn't it? So I'm going to give out the link. I'm going to go in the chat room and drop the link. It's the site is called youcaring.com, and I'm trying to figure out. I guess if you go to youcaring.com and you type in terminally ill veteran terminally ill veteran needs your help, search for fun under the search for fundraisers section, which is right there at the top. Just type in terminally ill veteran needs your help, and it should pop up. And there's a little bit of a description. There's not much. You can follow them on Facebook. You can go check it out. But it's got the name of the organizer, and then it's got the beneficiary. This is Park, which is the name of the guy, Park Major. Park is a 42-year-old terminally ill veteran. He needs help with alternative medical treatment and transportation to numerous doctor appointments. The VA doesn't cover the cost of the treatments. Nice, right? And there's a little bit more, underneath. You can look at it. Basically, they just need help. I mean, this guy's a terminally ill veteran. He's got Marfan syndrome. By the way, it's the same thing that killed bin Laden. Park Major is a terminally ill disabled veteran who suffers from Marfan syndrome. Numerous tumors, nausea, PTSD, migraines, loss of appetite, severe night sweats, insomnia, and chronic pain. He is a father of 3 who served his country in the first Gulf War. Since his health has seriously deteriorated, he was diagnosed in last November with Marfan syndrome and told, "There is no cure. You're done." His only hope is an alternative treatment, but that is costly, and the VA won't cover it. Of course they won't. They'll give themselves bonuses, but they won't cover different alternative treatments. He also needs more tests that the VA won't cover. He has numerous appointments and is unable to drive. He has to pay for transportation to appointments, which that shouldn't be, because the VA is supposed to provide transportation if you can't. That's part of what they're supposed to do. And they have transportation companies. I've seen it. Park created the Living with Dying organization to help other terminally ill people going through similar circumstances. Donations will be going to help pay for his alternative treatment, transportation, and to the Living with Dying organization to help others who are fighting to live. Our goal is to raise $5,000. All and any donations are greatly appreciated. Thank you to everyone. So, I will drop the link. You guys can go check it out. Look, you don't have to help out. You don't have to do anything. But you know what? The guy's a terminally ill veteran, and the government ain't going to take care of him. I mean, they won't even try to help him. Right now, they've told him you have a death sentence. I mean, they could, obviously, you heard that there is an alternative treatment, but they won't pay for it. So it's not that there isn't any, look, you're screwed, there's nothing we know of. No, there is an alternative treatment. We just don't want to pay for it because we'd rather send the money to a VA center where the head of the VA center will use it to buy her, give herself bonuses and give her staff bonuses, and they can all go out and buy themselves neat iPads and cars and everything else and jewelry and fancy clothes, right? Who cares about the veterans? The guy's a veteran. He's a disabled veteran. He's sick, and the VA will not cover any of his stuff. Nice. Very nice. So, let's try to help him out as best we can. and it's been bugging me because I haven't talked about this for a couple days. Listen to me, for a couple weeks. It's been sitting. I keep seeing the tab in my browser, and it's one of those things that it's like it hits me in the gut every time I see it, and I'm like, damn it, I need to talk about this. And then something else comes up or something major happens, and I don't focus on it, and I feel guilty about it. So tonight, I wanted to make sure before I get into anything else, before I talk about the police state, before I break anything down, I wanted to make sure, first and foremost, that I was taking care of business and that I was doing the right thing here. So go check out Park Major. Again, go over to youcaring.com. Up in search fundraisers, you can just highlight it with your mouse and it'll open up, and just type in terminally ill veteran need your help. Terminally ill veteran need your help. And I dropped the link in the chat room. If you go over to federaljack.com or truthfrequencyradio.com and you go to the Listen Live section on either one where the chat room is, the little chat room, go in there and you'll see the link, youcaring.com, and just look up terminally ill veteran need your help. Help out Park Major. And again, the money is not only going to help him, but it's also going to help his organization for other people that he started for other people that are dying, living with a terminal illness, living with dying, as he said. So I urge you, if you want to help out, look, this is how we actually help out. The reason I talk about this stuff, the reason why I talk about helping, I've done this for the Canna moms, and some of them have done like little GoFundMe stuff or T-shirt sales and stuff to try to raise some money for them and help with medical bills. The reason I do this is because this is actually changing stuff for the better. I could come on here and I could bloviate to you for 2 hours about we need to go out and do stuff, and then not do a damn thing to actually show you or inspire you or lead you down the right path. I lead by example. I don't lead by coming up onto a stage and grandstanding in front of you and then leaving said stage and doing the exact opposite of everything I just said you should do. Because that's what our political leaders and most of these other people do. I don't do that. That's not how I roll. Real change comes from actually getting on the ground, getting your boots dirty, and doing things. That's why I like when I tell you to buy homeless people food. If you see a homeless guy and he's hungry and you see him on the street corner and he's trying to get $1, the guy probably hasn't eaten in a day or two. Don't give him $1. Because you're just throwing money at the problem. Go around a corner, pick something up for him, come back and give him the food. You'd be surprised how grateful they are. Last time I did it, the guy asked me 3 times if I was joking, and he kept looking around to see if there was a camera, somebody was going to spoof him, and I said, "No, man, it's for you. One human to another. Enjoy. Manja." And I turned around and walked away. He couldn't believe it. He was flabbergasted. That's what changes the world. Doing good. Actually going out and doing good, not just standing around and talking about, well, I'm going to do good. Well, if you don't actually do it, you're just running your yapper. This is one of those opportunities where you get to help. Now, a lot of people, like I said, yes, I would prefer that people go out and physically do stuff. Look, if say you find out, you find Park on Facebook or whatever, and you find out you're local to him, you're close, well, then maybe you don't have to donate money. Maybe you can help him in another way. Maybe give him a ride to the hospital or something. That's fine. But if you live 1,000 miles away and the only thing you can do is, in this instance, throw money at it, well, then if that's, because that's always the first instinct that the powers that shouldn't be, that's always the answer that's given, is just throw more money at it, right? That's what we've been taught. Well, in this instance, the guy actually could use a few bucks. So go help him out. youcaring.com. Again, terminally ill veteran, need your help. His name's Park Major. We got to take care of our own. And I don't mean veterans. I mean, yes, fellow vets understand that. We're like family, but I'm talking about humans. We just need to take care of our own fellow humans. We see another fellow human in need or sick or down, you help. That's how we're going to change stuff for the better. Not running around and, screaming and yelling and pretending to be superheroes and standing on a soapbox. That ain't going to change dick. You have to go out and be the superhero and change the world for the better. And it's my goal to inspire you to do so. So anyway, let's help this guy out. Park Major, terminally ill veteran, youcaring.com, terminally ill veteran, need your help. Thank you, everybody, for listening any bloviate about this for a few minutes, but I wanted to give it the attention it definitely deserved and needed. Something I've been, like I said, I've been wanting to talk about it for a couple weeks now, and it just, you know how it is. So much. You should see my browser windows. I probably have like 50 tabs open in each browser. It's absolutely ridiculous what I want to talk about during the course of a day and what I actually get a chance to talk about during the course of the day. So anyway, let's help them out. So moving on, let's get into the police state news first, shall we? And then we can get into the gun control news. First, I want to talk about this rise in SWAT team action. And people are getting SWAT teamed for overdue library books, like not returning a library book. I'm not kidding. Go look it up. Go to your favorite search engine and type in SWAT teamed over a library book or family SWAT teamed over a library book, and you'll see it in the article will come up. I'm sure your search engine of choice will find it. It's out there. People are being SWAT teamed over the most ridiculous, mundane, just insane, retarded things. You breathe in the wrong direction, breach the door. And of course it's because you have cops that want to justify their existence and they want to play with their toys. So they're brainwashed to a certain extent. Oh my God, you're at war. The general public hates you. When I was a kid and they came to serve a warrant, they had bulletproof vests and everything, and they might have brought a battering ram, but it was just guys outside, cars in the parking lot, but guys outside the door with maybe a battering ram. They all had bulletproof vests and guns, but they were the regular detectives and stuff, many of them that were working on the case. Even patrolmen that were there to back them up. Now the slightest infraction, and they have a paramilitary SWAT team coming through your door, and of course it never happens at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Sometimes it does, but normally it happens at 3 o'clock in the morning when people are asleep. Now, I don't know about you, but if I'm asleep at 3 o'clock in the morning and I hear my window break and something come flying in the window, the first thing I'm going to think is someone's breaking into my house. What do you think I'm going to do if someone is breaking into my house at 3 o'clock in the morning? I am going to take care of the problem with extreme prejudice. That's how I'm going to handle the situation. If you break into my house at 3 o'clock in the morning, I don't care if you have a costume or not. You break into my house at 3 o'clock in the morning, I view you as the enemy. You could be the Pope. I view you as the enemy. And I'm going to treat you accordingly. Because I view that you're coming in to do me and my family harm. And I don't play that game. So if that's the case, I'm going to act accordingly. And that's how any rational, sane person would. And that's what happens. And more often than not, innocent homeowners are shot and killed because they start firing at people that are just breaking into their house, and they're opened up on with AR-15s, high-velocity armor-piercing rounds in many cases. They shoot innocent kids. A lot of times, these SWAT teams shoot each other while they're breaching a door. They get so pumped up and their hard-on is so uncontrollable to kill somebody that the guy behind, you'll have the lead guy, the point man, he's ready to, he's taking point, he's ready to go in. And his buddy behind him is so hard to kill somebody. Oh, I got such a raging hard-on. I want to kill somebody. Oh, I'm such a cop. Oh, my finger's on the trigger. Bang! Oh, shit, I shot my friend in the back of the head. We'll just blame the guy inside. It's his fault. If this guy wasn't doing drugs, then that officer wouldn't have been killed. Really? Really? That's how we're going to play this? It's the person's fault inside the house that you were raiding, and they had no idea you were raiding them at 3 o'clock in the morning, but you jagoffs that pretend to play Army, right? You guys all want to be Army. You maybe play Call of Duty at your police station, run around in the back a little bit, slapping each other, playing like a bunch of 14-year-olds, maybe shooting each other with water pistols and paintball guns, and suddenly, oh my God, you're trained Army men. We think we're the Marine Corps. We know how to breach buildings. Well, we were trained by DHS and the Israelis, Popeye. Oh, that's right. The Israelis are going around to Mossad, going around to different police stations and training U.S. police. We're being taught in Krav Maga. We're awesome. We're the police. Really? 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 You think you're that cool? We're at a war with scum in this country. What are you looking in the mirror? You looking in the mirror when you say that? Because you should be. Because you're the problem. Scum. I have no patience for SWAT team action and anything like that anymore. And I'll be getting Sergeant Shirley on again soon enough. I've been chatting with him on Facebook and online. We've been talking about the Nevada cop killers. And he's going to come on and we're going to talk all about that stuff. We're going to talk all about it. So conversations with a cop will still continue. But as I've said to Sergeant Shirley on air before, I have no love for the SWAT teams. None. And then you SWAT cops that hear this, oh, you're just a pussy, man. I'd kick your ass. Right. You'd kick my ass, right. I'm sure you'd have to take you and all your friends to do it, because you certainly wouldn't talk like that if you were by yourself. You're just like every other bully who only runs his mouth when his pals are around or because he's got a badge or a costume. Why don't you take your little costume and your badge off and run your mouth like that? Right. I actually said that to a cop when I was younger, when I was a firefighter, one of the cops in the town I was at. Anybody that was on my fire department that was there around at the time knows this story is 100% true. And he came onto the property, he had a personal issue with me, and he was trying to threaten me using his squad car and his badge and his outfit. I'm a police officer. Kept bucking up. And I told him, I said, why don't you take off your little badge, take off your bat utility belt, put it in your car because you're not on the clock right now, right? He said, nope. I said, good, because that would be wasting my tax dollars, and that would also piss me off if you were using my tax dollars to come and threaten me. I'd have to call your boss. But I went off on him, and I challenged him 3 times to go out back and handle it fisticuffs like a bunch of men, or like we used to do in the Coast Guard, smokers in the back of the fantail. So when you'd call smokers and you'd go out and you'd box it out. That's how and that was it. Whatever issues were left on the fantail. Whoever got knocked out, and that was it. I invited him 3 times. He didn't want to go. I'm a cop. I said, take off your badge. You're not on duty right now. Take off your little costume. We'll go out back and we'll settle it like 2 grown-ass men. Wouldn't do it. Bullies. All of them. The 2% that are still good cops, fine, you guys aren't bullies, but the rest of you with an IQ of 90, you're all bullies. I'm sorry. If you want to be a SWAT guy and you want to kick indoors, you're a bully. You're a bully. Why would you want to kick indoors in your own country? Because we're cleaning it up, Popeye. No, you're not. You're buying into the BS. You're being played. Okay? You're being played. You're being played, and it's sad because you're willing for $1 to go subjugate another fellow human being. It's really a statement about you as an individual. No, I signed up because I want to uphold the law. Come on. In this day and age, if you really think that's what you're doing, you're fooling yourself. Come on. You're a revenue generator. Even Sergeant Shirley's been on. He's been on my show twice already. And what has he said about being a regular beat cop nowadays? They didn't have a beat cop. About being a patrolman nowadays. He said it's all revenue generation. He's active duty. He's still a police officer, and he's telling you he doesn't agree with that. He's telling you that that's a huge problem. So people getting into this know. I mean, yeah, they're fed the line. You're that thin blue line between chaos and, society and civilization and total and utter chaos. Bum, 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 bum. You're that thin blue line. Blah. As if mankind is so stupid and we're such animals that we need to be herded like sheep. Unfortunately, the general public, with the dumbing down and pop culture and all the crap on music videos and TV and the dumbing down, to a certain extent, does prove them, or at least their outlook on us, to be true to a certain extent. But see, it's not so much that the public is stupid, so we need them to herd us like sheep. The powers that be are dumbing the public down to fit that agenda. Naturally, people aren't stupid and don't fall into the things that people fall into right now. They've had to dumb society down and, keep everybody occupied with the most mundane, flashy, blingy crap. The love of things, the love of thyself and nothing else. Again, true Satanism. worshiping the ego, base consciousness at its finest is what you see society at right now. And they're keeping us there for a reason. They want us there for a reason. They want to control you. They want to control me. Why do you think they get mad that we have the internet? Why do you think they want to turn off? We're going to announce kill switches because when people's cell phones get stolen, we really care about that. Right, because you care about cell phones getting stolen. They've been around for 10 years and that's never really been an issue for you. Suddenly, you're doing it for the people. Right. So when the government says to Sprint, Verizon, and AT&T, shut the phones off, they just shut the phones off. Oh, they would never do that. Really? They would never do that? Because the telecoms would never work with the government to do anything? Hand over your records, spy on you? Oh, wait a minute. Did I just hear the collective light bulb go on? Bing, 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 bing. Right. They want to shut communication off. They want to stop us from talking. They want to stop you from hearing myself or others just say something, because if you hear me say something, it might spur a thought. You could be a thought criminal if you listen to Popeye and anybody else over at Truth Frequency Radio. Those damn thought terrorists. We need Department of Homeland Thought Security. DHTS, Department of Homeland Thought Security. Were you thinking? Sir, pull over. You've been thinking and driving. We'll be right back. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Do not let the man get you, because he will definitely put you down on your knees. Quite possibly try to shoot you in the back of the head. You never know. And that's not hyperbole. I wish when I came on air and I said things like that, I wish when I said things out loud like that it was actually hyperbole and that I was trying to do it to scare you or bring hits to my website. I wish it was fake and it was all a dream and I was just trying to do this for hits, right? I wish that were the case. Why do I wish that were the case? Because the reality of the situation is actually much, much worse, and that's not the case. The true reason I talk to you about this stuff is because this is a reality. This is going on every day around you. Years ago, if you talked about it, you were made fun of. You're crazy. Cops aren't like that. Really? 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 There's no excuse for what's going on today. There is none. We allow it to happen. Well, Popeye, I don't agree with it. But where are there mass demonstrations? I mean, there was out in California, what was it, Anaheim? And they pretty much, they just declared martial law, and the media just ignored it for like a week and a half, 2 weeks while those people were protesting, and they had their cops, their sheriffs driving around in armored vehicles, full battle rattle. But they're just police, Popeye. No, police do not wear fatigues. Well, they say they're police and sheriffs. Well, for all intents and purposes, they're paramilitary forces. They're paramilitary forces. They're not cops. Cops aren't supposed to look like that. They can put the little police on the back of their outfit all they want. You're a paramilitary thug. You're nothing but a thug. I don't care how you put it, what group, what little gang you belong to with your gang colors and your friggin' badges and all your little pins that you put on your outfit. You're a thug. You're a thug. You're a thug. You're a thug. You're a bully thug. Nobody respects you. Not because it's a thankless job, but because you chuck grenades into houses willy-nilly. Some of them landing into cribs and detonating inside of the child's crib. And then you can't even take responsibility for it. No, because your lawyers, and I'm sure the police union told you, no, you never take responsibility for it. Otherwise, you can get sued and future lawsuits and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I'm sure you don't want to take responsibility for it, at least not publicly anyway. Like maybe on the back end, those people are going to get sued, and the county or the town will have to pay out a certain amount of money to that family now. And the residents of that county and town should get pissed off about that too, because that's money coming out of your pocket because of the idiocy of the morons wearing a bunch of Halloween costumes and trying to be military. It's like Barney Fife and the rest of his crew did a SWAT raid, and these idiots, and this isn't the first time they've had problems, these idiots dropped a flashbang into a baby's crib. Well, we didn't know the baby was there. Well, perhaps you should have done better surveillance. You want to act like the military? Maybe you should take a little more time to really act like them. Do a little more surveillance. Do you know what their surveillance was? Not even like an hour or two of sitting outside watching a place with binoculars. Nope. Nope. And nope. They drove by, took a look, and went, okay, let's raid it. Well, we didn't see anything outside that indicated there were children. So if you don't see a toy out in the yard that indicates that there couldn't be a child inside, well, we didn't know. Right, that's the exact reason you don't throw a grenade in willy-nilly into a domicile. You don't know who's inside. Well, exactly. That's why we threw the grenade in there, Popeye, because, bin Laden and terrorists or gun owners could be inside. And if they have drugs, oh my God, they'll have guns. And our officers get shot. And, our rule is no officer dies. None left behind. Everybody comes home. Oh, so you're better than the rest of the community. Because that's what you're saying. If you tell me that only officers are allowed to do whatever they have to do to make sure they survive the day, and that includes killing civilians willy-nilly like it ain't nothing, that's fine, because at the end of the day, that officer has to go home to his family. Well, how about the family whose lives you just wrecked by kicking in their door and killing their father or shooting their kid? How many times do these SWAT raids go wrong? More often than they go right. They get the wrong address. How do you get the wrong address? Because you're too hard to go kick in a door. You want to go play and be Call of Duty live action. You want to go play with your friggin' toys. You want to go kick doors and we're fighting the war on drugs. We're drug warriors. Oh, I'm so cool. No, you're not. You're a thug. You're a thug. You're nothing but a bully thug. That's all you are. You're a thug. You're part of a gang that has snazzy uniforms, and your gang colors are little ribbons, and your friggin' badge, and everything else, and your patches for whatever town you work for. You're a gang member. You're the best financed gang in that area. How would you like if your house was SWAT teamed? Well, I'm a police officer. That would never happen. Bullshit. How would you like if your house was SWAT teamed? How would you like if it was your baby that was in a crib that some dickhead threw a grenade into his crib? A flashbang grenade. Well, it was only a flashbang, but it wasn't a frag grenade. Well, gee, I guess we should be thankful for that. But flashbangs are the start of it. What happens when they stop using flashbangs and they just start chucking live fragmentation grenades inside? Then what? Then what? What happens when you turn an entire family into soup because you got a hard on and we had to raid the house? Rah! We got an armored vehicle, Popeye. Rah! We're cops. Rah! I mean, listen to yourselves. Go look at yourselves in the mirror. You don't even look like cops anymore. You look like stormtroopers. And then, of course, you have the narrative from the Las Vegas Police Department when these cop killers attacked them. Well, they equate cops to Nazis. So you see what they're trying to do, and this was pushed in the news media for 3 or 4 days. If you say that the police are acting like the Nazis did, you're a cop killer. Arrest him! You must want to kill cops! You're militia! You conspiracy theorist militia! Oh! You! Right? Oh, feel bad for the cops that got killed. Oh, so sorry. Even though the people that killed them were police informants. Little more than just slightly shady, I would say. Anyway. Everybody wants you to feel bad for the two officers. And by the way, I don't condone just walking up to somebody and executing them. But everybody wants the media, the powers that shouldn't be, we're focusing on that. The conspiracy theorists, oh my God, right-wingers, gun owners, oh, they want to kill cops. How about when the cops go and do the opposite to other people? Where's the outrage for that? There isn't. And by the way, the reason why that coverage was the way it was to help further the divide between civilians and police. I told you, it's a big chess game. It's like a 3D chessboard. They got the police are civilians too, but they've got them actually believing that they're not. They've got them believing that they're their own special class above the regular average civilian. They are civilians. They're not military. You have either civilian or military. Okay? The police have always been civilian. They think they're militarized. They are being physically militarized. But their mindset is being changed from that of a peace officer, local police officer, into this paramilitary thug. And then the other side of the chessboard is us. And we're looking at this, and we get mad. And then they say, the police, the other side, they'll say, oh, it's like a big chess game. Like I said, they'll say, oh, it's a thankless job. You don't love us, blah, 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 blah. We keep you safe, thin blue line. And then one of them will do something, kill, shoot, tase, whatever, a civilian, and then the people get mad, and then the cops, their attitude against us, and I said this before, it gets reinforced, because of they're in like an echo chamber. If they were removed from the situation of being around other police, if they were by themselves and maybe had a chance to sit away from influences just telling them, oh, it's okay, you were justified, shh, just, yeah, don't worry, we'll take care of it. If they were away from that and they actually got a chance to sit and think about their actions, they might actually, I'm not saying all of them would, but they might actually ponder a little bit what they're doing. But see, they're not. When a police situation like this happens and someone innocent gets killed, which happens all the time, they'll take that police officer, right, and they remove them. They'll put them on leave, whatever, and they surround them. If you notice, they'll surround them with their union reps, other cops, their upper management, whatever, and they close ranks, as we would call it when I was in the Guard, and they protect them. And then that officer, nothing is ever done to discipline these officers. And what happens is you grow this building resentment inside of the general populace. Now they know this. Maybe the lower level idiots don't see it, okay? Maybe even captains and chiefs don't see it. Some of them have to, but maybe some of them don't see it. But the upper echelon of the powers that shouldn't be, they understand what they're doing. They're playing a chess game. They need their dogs to take us out. They need us divided, right? So they need them to do what they say, and that's why they keep them. They give them just enough. They let them think that they're a special class above everybody else. They stroke that ego. They even do things to like pass laws making them immune from things or exempt or above the law, or they try to make them above the law in certain situations, and they shouldn't be. In fact, police should be held to a much higher standard more than anybody else, because you're supposed to be the ones that are, better examples of society, or setting the example for society, right? Supposedly. Yet that's not really what you guys do. You guys drive around, beat people up, put people in jail for no reason at all, shoot people, tase people, write tickets, generate revenue. And of course, people don't like that stuff, right? So that furthers this divide. It keeps pushing everybody apart. And then the powers that shouldn't be, through their propaganda, their echo chamber, all the cops ever hear in their little echo chambers, you were right, you were justified, you were right, you were justified, it's all about you, as long as you make it home, we're at a war with scum, blah, 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 blah. It's the same crap over and over and over again. So of course, that's the only thing that's going to get reinforced in his head. And then, they never get in trouble. And if they do, it's a slap on the wrist. So they're emboldened. And then these cops do it again. And then they do it again. And then they do it again. And again. And again. It's just like anybody else. Like any other situation. Take away the uniform and the faux power. It's the same thing. Same situation. Humans operate off some of the basic same premises and principles. If you understand them, you can manipulate them. That's what they do. The powers that shouldn't be. And I'm quickly losing my faith that, I mean, I know I say that there's very small amount of good ones out there anymore, but like, you can't even trust, first of all, anytime a police department puts out a photo op where they show a cop giving somebody a homeless guy a pair of boots, always look into that cop's background. Case in point, and I forget which police department it is, but they took a picture of this cop giving a homeless guy boots, and they put it out. Oh, look how amazing this police officer is, and all these people were like, "Oh, he's such a hero for buying that guy the boots." First of all, he didn't buy the boots; their boots were probably given to him or whatever, or purchased by the town. He's just the photo op cop. Well, this same cop just shot and killed a handcuffed guy. There's video of it. They were trying to drag this guy out. They were trying to transport him somewhere, from the jail to somewhere else, and it was done really, really shady like, and they were dragging him on the ground, and the guy, he was resisting a little bit. I mean, he was handcuffed with his hands behind his back. So there's no, there was no reason to do what the cop did, but the guy was, and he was laying on the ground. The guy was already on the ground. He was just kind of rolling around, so they couldn't control him. So the cop stepped back, drew his service weapon, and shot him. Just blasted the guy. It's on video. And then the guy's sitting there bleeding, just bleeding out, bleeding to death, blood all over the place, and the cops just kneeling on him and holding him down. Then they start to do CPR. Well, if you're not covering the bullet wound, genius, he's going to bleed to death. Same cop who was photographed like a year before, maybe a little less than, taking time out of his busy day to get a pair of boots for a homeless guy, right? Totally staged photo op. So if this cop is such a great cop, why did he kill somebody that was handcuffed and on the ground? Why did he shoot him? Well, that guy, there was danger and blah, blah, blah. And from what I understand, they cleared him. They said he was justified in doing it because they said, and I think the cop on the ground said that the guy had gotten his legs, somehow he had gotten the handcuffs, his arms, and he had gotten his arms up over him in front of him, which the video does not show that. Even though that's in the report, the surveillance video, shows a guy with his hands handcuffed behind his back. But the official story, at least from this cop, was that he was able to get his hands in the front. Well, they didn't nail him for lying. The video proves that he lied, but they didn't nail him for that. He shot a handcuffed guy, and then he blamed it on the guy that was transporting with him. He said that when the guy stepped back, he bumped him and accidentally caused him to fire his weapon. So that means your finger was still on the trigger. That means you don't have optimal control of your weapon. Who taught you how to shoot? First of all, the basic rules of drawing your weapon, officer, is never point your gun at anything you do not wish to destroy. First rule of guns. Do not point your weapon or your handgun, whatever weapon, whatever type of firearm it is, shotgun, rifle, does not matter. Could be a friggin' mod deuce. Do not point your firearm at anything you do not want to destroy. It's a very simple rule to follow. So, shouldn't have shot him. But they're allowed to get away with it. And you know what? There is not going to be a positive outcome if they're allowed to continue to get away with it. You want to know the truth? There won't be. There's going to be fights. There's going to be people getting pissed off. There's going to be, eventually, you can't keep doing this and not have repercussions of some sort. Case in point, even if the Las Vegas shooters were not nuts, or not nuts, but not mind control, whatever, not, false flag type event, whatever. Let's put all that aside. What if they were just really disturbed? There are people out there like that. And just because they're disturbed doesn't mean that they have to like what the police state is doing and what's going on. So they see all this stuff happening day in, day out, day in, day out. Finally, one day they just snap. Well, those people need to be locked up because for the public safety. No, you're not addressing the problem. You're addressing the symptom of the problem. You're not addressing the problem. Well, the problem is there's too many guns and militia. No, that's not the problem. The problem is the overarching abuses of the police departments and sheriff's departments across this country and the federal law enforcement agencies as well. People are tired. We're supposed to be living in a free country, and yet we live in the land of the slaves. America, where at least I think I'm free. We're a joke. We're an absolute joke. No, Popeye, we're not a joke. We live in America, the freest nation in the world. We're the freest nation in the world. We have 1/4 of the world's prison population in our country. Let me repeat that for you in case you didn't hear that. We have 1/4 of the world's prison population. So out of every 4 prisoners in the world, one of those 4 is housed in the United States. We have more people in prison than China. Yeah. Our prison system is more draconian than China. But we sit here and act like we're the arbiter of everything in this country. That's how arrogant and ignorant people are to what's going on around them. Frogs in the pot. They want us to fight. They want to keep allowing the cops to do what they do, because they're their dogs. And they know that at a certain level, people are going to eventually stop taking it. And they're waiting for that because then they can say, look, domestic terrorists, look, sovereign citizens, look, whatever they want to label those individuals. They won't ever say that the problem is SWAT teams and kicking in doors and the police brutality and this epidemic that's not being handled. No, they'll deal with the symptoms that come about from the disease, but they won't actually deal with the disease itself because the disease was put there by them. It's being fed by them. We need to stop it. We need to reach out to the police. We need to reach out to police chiefs and captains, not the lower level sergeants or patrolmen on the street. I mean, if you engage them or something, if you have an interaction with them and you chat with them, there are times that it comes out very positive. That's fine. But that's not going to really induce change, okay? You might have a conversation with that one patrolman or something, but he's not going to go back and be able to change everything. And then, if he does open his mouth, he'll get pounded down by the other cops that are there, and he'll shut his mouth so he fits in so he doesn't have to make his time at work rough. You need to get to the top. We need more people, more members of Oath Keepers. We need more people to go out and sit and talk to these police. We need more former retired police officers to sit down and talk to these active duty police chiefs and stuff and captains and explain to them what's going on. And if they don't want to listen, they want to call you terrorists, they want to make fun of you, whatever, then you make a case out of it. Contact all the news media. Contact all the media alternative, mainstream, does not matter who. You make a fuss out of it every which way you can. We need to shed light on this subject because by ignoring it and just sticking our heads in the sand and not doing anything about it, it's going to get worse. And eventually this rift between the police and the civilians, the regular citizens, not civilians, but the regular citizens, going to come to a head. It's going to come to a boil. Now, we have a chance to not let it get there. That's what the powers that shouldn't be want. Because then that'll also justify and back up everything they ever programmed their little dogs with. And by the way, the reason, police, that I call you their dogs is because that's what they call you. That's not Popeye's little pejorative nickname for you. That's what they call the military and the police. The powers that shouldn't be, and these high-level Satanists, for lack of a better term, and I mean not the I love the trees and blah. No, I'm not talking about that. Or I'm a Wicca. I'm into Wicca. No. I'm talking about like they actually do human sacrifices and they try to invoke Tiamat and they pray to Lord Enki. I'll have to play that audio again. Christopher Everard came on my broadcast a year and a half, 2 years ago. He's been on multiple times, but one of the times he was on, he brought this piece of audio on where it's a group from the Ordo Templi Orientis and they're invoking Tiamat and praying to Lord Enki, which is, by the way, Enki's one of the Anunnaki, just in case we're not clear. So anyway, these high-level, high-ranking evil people, they know that eventually this is going to be very bad and come to a head. That's what they want. Because then they have all their little things in place. They have all their little excuses to do whatever they want. That's their plan. It's like a game. You can see it. Like I said, the only way to describe it is like a 3D chessboard. It's almost like the way I see it in my mind's eye is like, if you know who MC Escher is, if you don't, look him up. Look up MC Escher stairs or stairs painting, and you'll see what I'm talking about. If you see the Escher painting of the stairs, that's kind of the way I see this 3D chessboard. It's not. I almost want to say like 4D, I guess, because it's not just. I mean, it's every angle. It's not just like a chessboard, and maybe there's a little tier off of here, off of here. No, there's certain levels that are sideways. There's certain ones that are upside down. It's like the expression says, "What a tangled web we weave," right? Well, it certainly is a tangled web. The point is, these high-level Satanists, I've had Mark Passio on to talk about this before. These high-level Satanists, they look at you and the military like you're dogs. They call you their pets. Why do you think when we were in the military we had dog tags? You think that's coincidence? Oh, it's a cute little nickname. No. Duh. The term dogs of war. We are their pets. When we work for them, they consider us their pets. Do you want to be someone's pet? Because I certainly ain't anyone's pet. Let's get that straight. You want to be someone's pet? Because I know I don't want to be someone's pet. Bet you a lot of you out there would have a problem if I described it another way. Do you want to be someone's bitch? Because that's what you are. When you kick indoors and you're wearing your little outfit and we're here for the war on drugs, blah, 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 and then you shoot like 2 or 3 dogs in the house, you accidentally kill a 10-year-old girl sleeping on the couch, which I forget how exactly old she was, but that actually happened. They shot her in the head. Well, my gun accidentally went off. You should be fired. Aren't you a highly trained SWAT agent? Don't you go through all these different training scenarios? Why are you not held to a higher standard? Nope, it's fine. Well, just so you know, Popeye, that SWAT agent, he was really upset. Oh, my heart pumps purple piss for him, let me tell you. I'm playing the world's smallest violin. How do you think the family feels? Well, he's devastated. How about the family of the person you killed? How about that? They're so devastated, Popeye. Look, police officers, you need to stop these retarded SWAT raids and stop playing with your toys, trying to justify your existence, and realize you're on the same team as the rest of us. Put your little costume away. Put your little toy badge away. It's time to grow up. Okay, those are child's things. We've come beyond playing cowboys and Indians. We've come beyond playing cops and robbers from when we were a kid. Let's put our toys in the toy chest where they belong and come back into reality. You think that's possible, perhaps? Sirs? SWAT team raids are out of control, ladies and gentlemen. People need to get pissed off, and they need to do something about it. We, as the public, need to tell them, not anymore. We're done. We're done. We are done. We're going to break. We'll be right back. Stay tuned. The exact level of tyranny that you're going to live under is the level of tyranny that you put up with. Thomas Jefferson, one of our founding fathers of this country. Welcome back to hour number 2, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Popeye, from federaljack.com. It is June 25th, 2014, and as you can tell, I'm a wee bit fired up. Perhaps it was the hour-and-a-half workout before I came on air. Got my blood pumping now. Actually, that usually calms me down. If you think this is riled up, you should have seen me before I went and worked out for an hour and a half. I'm tired of it. Tired of turning on my computer on a daily basis, trying to report on things, trying to go over the news, trying to dissect things, and I would say 2 or 3 out of every 10 articles is a cop abusing his power, or SWAT team raiding the wrong house, or killing somebody for whatever infraction, or shooting at somebody, and it's just getting worse and worse, and it's becoming more and more prevalent. Now, yes, to a certain extent, the media does focus on a lot of these stories, just like they focus on every time someone shoots themselves on the foot now. And for the past 2 days, I've been seeing this story all over Fox News and everything. My God, a mass shooting in Miami. It wasn't a mass shooting. It was a shooting, and a couple people were injured, and 2 people were killed. So I guess technically, yeah, if you want to label it a mass shooting, see, that way they can these little buzzwords, okay? It was in Liberty City. I hate to break the news to you people, but if you don't know anything about Miami, Miami's the Wild West. If you think banning guns down here would make it safer, you're out of your effing mind. We have guns, people have concealed weapons, and it's already dangerous. The reason they have the concealed weapons and that they actually passed certain laws, like the law about having a gun in your car here in the state of Florida. You don't need a concealed weapons permit to have a gun in your car. Do you know why? Do you know why they passed that law? Because in the 90s, there was this, late 80s, 90s, there was this rash of carjackings, especially in downtown Miami. So they passed the law so that way the castle clause, the defend your home and all that stuff, well, that actually extends to your car. So and your place of business too. So if you're in your car, you don't need a concealed weapons permit to have a gun in your glove box or in your center console. You're allowed to have it there. Because if someone tries to carjack you, you need to have quick access to your gun so you can blast the guy, right? That's horrible, Popeye. You want to kill people? No. I don't want to be forced to take another human life, but if I'm ever put in that situation, you could bet your ass if it's me or the other person's leaving the planet, and I'm not. I plan on being around until I'm about 100 years old to be a pain in the ass to the powers that shouldn't be for as long as I possibly can. You should have the same mentality. I've actually seen people. I've seen people being interviewed where they're just dead set against guns. And this one woman, I have to find the video. It's on YouTube. You just look up. I'm sure you can find it on YouTube. I'm sure the listeners will find it while I'm talking. You guys are awesome. You always do. You end up throwing it in the chat room. Just go on YouTube, somebody, and type in woman says it's okay to be a victim, or woman says she would not use gun to defend herself, would rather be a victim. I'm willing to bet the video will come up. And I forget who did the video interview. It's a couple of years old. And it was outside of some event, and I can't remember if it was against gun control, for it, whatever, just a political thing, whatever, but it was outside some event, and they were asking about gun control. And this woman basically said that she would rather be a victim than use a gun to defend herself. And the person interviewing her said was like, so like if someone broke into your house and was going to kill you, like rape you and kill you, you wouldn't use the gun, you wouldn't want a gun to defend yourself? And she was like, no, I'd rather be a victim. Wow. Just wow. In fact, I like doing this with you. Let's look it up on air together, right? Because you know how I roll. I always shoot from the hip and all this stuff is in my brain. So let's look it up online together. Let's see. Woman wants to be a victim, won't use gun to defend herself. Now, it's kind of long, but let's see if it brings it up. Let's see. I'm trying to find it. It's kind of hard because it's like this obscure video clip. It's really a pain in the butt. I have to try to find it, and it's probably not going to come up first shot like I would love, but of course it won't because there's way too many. You type gun in the thing, and there's just way too many videos. She was an older black lady, and I can't remember where they were. They might have been in. Oh, here it is. Obama hat-wearing anti-gun protester says she'd rather be murdered than to use a gun in self-defense. Wow, gotta love it. Here, check it out. Let's see.
This is CBS Atlanta News at 6. We ask the tough questions.
Tonight at 6, hundreds of demonstrators rally against gun violence at the state capitol for this young man.
Oh, okay. It was after the Trayvon Martin shooting.
Trayvon Martin. Good evening. I'm Stephanie Fisher.
And I'm Jaquetta Williams. It has been exactly 1 year since 17-year-old Trayvon Martin was shot to death by a neighborhood watch volunteer.
And now students and community leaders right here in Georgia are using this anniversary to call for an end to gun violence. CBS Atlanta's Christopher King is live outside the Capitol where the demonstrators are rallying now.
Stephanie, they're crowding those steps outside the state capitol here. Take a look over here. You can see they're carrying signs that read, "Stop the gun violence." They're also holding up signs that honor Trayvon Martin. Now, they're calling for an end to policies they say could lead to tragedies like the one that took Trayvon Martin's life. Florida's Stand Your Ground law is at the center of the Trayvon Martin.
And it's funny when you look back on this, by the way, and they didn't use the stand your ground law as the defense. So Florida stand your ground law is not in the spotlight, unless, of course, you're just trying to attack the stand your ground law. Oh, look at that, getting people's emotions all riled up for political reasons. The news and the government are very good at that. Anyway, back to the Obama supporter that would rather be murdered than defend herself with a gun.
Shooting. Georgia has a similar law. Demonstrators here want to abolish it.
Self-defense is not an option. It is not an option.
The Stand Your Ground law provides immunity from prosecution if you kill someone and can prove you were defending yourself. But what if someone's trying to kill you?
You'll just have to kill me, Christopher.
But one.
Wait. Hold on. I'm going to turn this up so you can rewind that a second so you can hear it. Let me go back just like 3 or 4 seconds. He says, but what if someone's trying to kill you? And she says, well, they're just going to have to kill me. Listen.
What if someone's trying to kill you?
You'll just have to kill me, Christopher.
But.
Wait, hold on, because she said it kind of low. Let me turn it up just a little bit louder for you, just in case you guys didn't hear that. This woman would rather be murdered. She'd rather be a victim than to defend herself with a gun.
But what if someone's trying to kill you?
They'll just have to kill me, Christopher.
But 1 second.
Nope, they'll just have to kill me, Christopher. I guess that's the name of the reporter. They'll just have to kill me, Christopher. So you'd rather be assaulted and murdered than have a gun. Do you see the irrational fear of the firearm? This is the second half of the police state part that I was going to talk about tonight anyway, so I just segued right into it. Do you see what I'm talking about? I mean, I talk about irrational fear. There's no rational, logical thinking going on in that woman's head whatsoever. You just heard her say she would rather be murdered. She would rather be killed than use a gun to defend herself. I really feel sorry for that lady. I really do. I feel sorry for her. Not enough to actually, run out and try to sit and talk to her because, hey, you're old enough. You made up your own mind, lady. But I feel sorry for her because if anything ever does happen, she will just lay down and allow herself to be slaughtered. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a martial law, revolution type scenario. I mean, the reporter asked her if somebody was breaking into your house and they were going to kill you. She said, well, they're just going to have to kill me then, Christopher. What? What kind of message does that send? Is that an empowering message, ladies? Do you feel that's empowering for you? All the women out there, I know I have a large female audience. Do all you strong women that listen to this broadcast, do you feel that that's really empowering for women to hear another woman just say, I would just lay down and be a victim and let him kill me? Really? Wow. I mean, talk about brainwashing and irrational fear. Well, because guns kill black people, Popeye, and it's the stand your ground law is racist. And no, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not. Actually, guns aren't racist. If you actually do your research, do a little bit of research, just a slight bit, and you'll find out the truth. The first gun control laws were based off of what? Race. The first gun control laws were passed in this country to stop freed slaves, black people, from getting firearms. And it wasn't the Second Amendment like Danny Glover, that arrogant tart. Was it a year ago or 2 years ago? He was speaking out of college and he said, the Second Amendment is all about, white people wanting to protect themselves from free slaves. Really? There's not a bit of a time gap in between the Emancipation Proclamation and the Constitution being signed and the Bill of Rights and all that stuff? Really? There's no time period at all in between there? Really? Really, Danny? Do the world a favor. Go back to playing Roger Murtaugh in Lethal Weapon 2, 3, and whatever other 4, however many pieces they did to that series. Okay, it was the only good thing you ever did, Danny. Shush. Maybe Predator 2. I mean, that was kind of lame. Shut up. Because you're just stirring the pot. And if you actually believe that, well, then that's Okay, fine. That could be your ignorant, arrogant belief, but you should not be passing that on as gospel to young, impressionable minds who might look up to you because you're a movie star and you're speaking at our college. You're ignorant. Second Amendment wasn't about stopping black people from getting guns. You moron. The Second Amendment allowed black people to have guns. You know, there were free black individuals that fought during the Revolutionary War. I know. History is a little bit more of a gray area, ladies and gentlemen. Things aren't so black and white, cut and dry. The gray area in history is actually much larger than you know. The Second Amendment actually helped the civil rights movement. I actually have it up on Federal Jack. It's right up on the front. It's under the it's under the politics section. So when you gotta open up the website and then scroll down to the column where it says politics, and you'll see it's like a hour and a half long presentation this author did about it was on C-SPAN and Mox News, good guy. He always puts up all the full-length presentations like that on his YouTube channel, and I put it up on Federal Jack for you all. And the guy is talking about how guns helped the civil rights movement because they had people that had guns and were armed that protected the civil rights movement when they were marching, and that protected them. And of course, King got shot, but it's already been proven that was a conspiracy involving Army Special Forces, the CIA, and the FBI, amongst a few others. But yes, the civil rights movement, they had armed people. Were the guns jumping out of people's vests and jackets and going, "Oh my God, black people!" No. No. And no. The gun isn't racist when it kills a black person. Usually, unfortunately, it's another black person wielding that firearm. Maybe the gun isn't the problem. Maybe it's a problem in society itself. And I'm not saying, well, it's just the blacks. Yeah, right. You wish. You arrogant retards that would say that. It's all of us. It's a human problem because we all look at each other like we're disgusted with each other. We don't look at each other and say, wow, life, what a precious gift. We should not squander it and waste it. No, we look at each other and go, man, I'd like to cap that guy or F him or screw him for whatever reason, right? Or maybe you're not that violent, but I don't like this person, whatever. Everybody, we judge everybody. I mean, even I still make mistakes and do it, and I catch myself doing it, except I force myself now to, recant even if it was just a thought, I hold my feet to the fire. We have to reprogram ourselves. It's not about, well, it's only in the black communities. No, there's violence in other communities too. It's how we're programming our kids to treat each other. We're programming the division lines. We're programming the racism. We're programming all of that into the children. The older generations program it into the younger generations, and then so on and so on and so on. And the cycle repeats, and the cycle repeats, and the cycle repeats. Guns don't run around in the middle of the night shooting people by themselves. They usually have a human holding them. Well, if you take away the gun, Popeye, then there won't be any tool. Right. That's an invalid excuse. That's a completely invalid statement. You cannot take away guns. It's already been proven that banning guns does not make an area safer. Chicago proves it. Why do you think they don't talk about the violence in Chicago? They'll talk about 2 people getting shot in Liberty City, and it'll be on the news for 2 or 3 days. And by the way, this is a daily occurrence down here. But because a bunch of people were shot, the news media can try to jump on it and make a big deal out of it. And I'm actually surprised, but the cops down here actually told the news media not to be jumping to conclusions because they don't even know exactly what happened in the shooting yet. So don't be running around making all sorts of wild accusations. They actually told that to the media yesterday. They said, we don't even know what happened yet, so don't be trying to come up with, oh, we know exactly what happened. No, you don't. The police who are investigating it don't know. You don't know. But that stuff is on the front page because they have to get you to oh my God, another shooting. Another, what's the buzzword? Mass shooting. Mass entailing a group of people shooting. Oh my God, another group of innocent people were killed. Another mass shooting. We need gun control. We need gun bans. I'm voting for Hillary 2016 because she wants to ban guns. You don't think that they're going to go after the emotional moms? Come on, moms. We need you to help ban guns. Your children's safety depends on it, Mom. Come on, Mom. And then they're going to have Hillary Clinton run in 2016. I'm a strong, proud woman. I could be the first female president, and I'm going to ban guns and keep your children safe. Oh, my God, I see it now. Banning guns will not keep anybody safe. Okay, take away the guns. Fine. Let's say they took away all the guns. Nobody's got guns except the police and the military. Well, now we live in a fascist dictatorship. But besides that, nobody has guns, right? Everybody's walking around all hunky-dory. Nobody has homicidal thoughts anymore because it was the gun that made everybody have homicidal thoughts. It wasn't actually the person being responsible for their own homicidal thoughts or actions. Nope. It's just the gun. So as soon as you take the guns out of society, everything will be better, right? Wrong. People will stab each other. People will use plastic bags to suffocate each other. People will use rope to strangle each other. It's happening. You know, Obama touted Australia's gun ban. They did a great job. I've done broadcasts about this already. I've played the audio. Go back and listen from last year, okay, in the archives, over to federaljack.com, go to the Down the Rabbit Hole archives, and scroll down. In like 2013, I did a whole slew, especially right after Sandy Hook happened. I was doing just gun control episode after gun control episode after gun control episode, and I was destroying all of these arguments. I mean, I did like 2.5 weeks worth of shows. That's why I could talk about it again, but it would be easier to tell you to go back to the archives because there's literally like 2.5 weeks worth of shows on it in there. Over the course of like 2-3 months, I just hammered on this subject, okay? Hammered away on it. Banning guns will not stop anything, and I went over the Australian gun ban that Obama is touting. I even had one of our old hosts here, Tempest. You guys all know him. He's still a good friend of ours. He's super busy working right now. Whenever he gets a chance, he comes on with us. Tempest came on with me. He's in Australia. I asked him multiple times, did gun control work there? No. Shooting crimes, well, of course, shooting crimes went down a little bit because there weren't guns at all. But there still are gun crimes. Bad guys still get guns. Oh, yeah. Bad guys still get them. I've played the audio. 3 different countries. It was the UK, Australia, and South Africa. And South Africa was crazy because they banned guns down there. They have a gun ban, and the criminals, the gang members and stuff, and whatever, bad guys, killers, murderers, whatever, they're literally carjacking police officers. They're carjacking the cops down in South America and taking their guns. I mean, the cops are the only ones with guns, and they're getting carjacked for their weapons. I'm not kidding. I've played the audio on air. Go back 2013 from like December of 2012 to 2013. Go listen. Or what? No, what was it? 2013, December 12th, 2013. Was it 2013? Was it 2012? I can't even remember when freaking Sandy Hook happened. Whatever year it was, either 2012 or 2013. The following weeks after that, and then within the next couple months, following the event, it was just one after another, boom, 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 boom. And I kept playing this stuff because it was words of warning from people from other countries that have already had their guns taken away. Okay? It's not even so much that the gun protects you. It's the fact that you have the gun. It keeps you on an equal playing field. See, the rulers, the powers that shouldn't be, the controllers, the elitist scum, right? They don't want us on an equal playing field. They want us on a playing field that's much lower so they can bully us around and we can't do anything about it. Bullies don't want you to be able to fight back or defend yourself. And it scares them that America can defend itself. What you saw go on over at the Bundy Ranch, where armed citizens stood up and the BLM was forced to back down. Now, yeah, they could have gone in there and Waco'd it, but there was so much attention it would have been really bad. And it probably, people, if that had happened and people had gotten killed, there probably would have been impeachments and political nightmares and all sorts of other things. So they backed off. It doesn't mean that they won't come back or try other things. I mean, Bundy needs to keep his eyes open, but stay frosty over there at the Bundy Ranch. But the point is, they're afraid of that. I mean, think how different it could have been if nobody was able to go out there and defend the Bundys. That ranch would be gone. That guy wouldn't have any of his stuff. They would have taken his cattle, and they probably would have Waco'd that ranch. It's the truth. I'm not happy about it, but it's the truth, right? Just the fact that you have the gun is what is the equalizer. You don't even have to use it. It could sit in a safe for 20 years. But the fact that you have the availability to that tool is what puts you on a more equal level. And they don't want that. It's like the old saying goes, God created men and Sam Colt made all men equal. They don't want you to be equal. They don't want you to have a firearm that you might be able to defend yourself with, because to them, that's scary. And they're police. You should just do what they say. There's no reason you should fear them, even though they can take their firearms and shoot you at will. They can tase you. I mean, they shoot and kill people inside of their own house. And then the cops are like, well, you were disobeying a direct order. You're in their property. I don't care. I'm a police officer. See, that's the problem. You think you're a special class above, and you're not. That's the first part of the problem. We need to change that. Again, mindset. It's insane, ladies and gentlemen. And the anti-gunners, I mean, well, I hate to break the news to you, but your hatred of guns comes from a place of fear-based ignorance. It does. Well, I don't like guns. Why? Because they scare you? Because something scares you, you don't like it? No, I don't want to talk about it. That's how we should run the planet? Based off of your emotions, which I have to add, they are irrational. Your fear is irrational. You have a rational, fear-based paranoia of guns. I mean, you heard that lady. I would rather be murdered. What are you, nuts? And it's not just about an equal playing field with the government. It's an equal playing field across the board. Criminals aren't going to come out and say that they support gun control laws because that doesn't affect them. But if you ask them, they'll tell you. I mean, John Stossel asked a bunch of guys in Rahway prison a couple of years ago. It's on video on YouTube. And he asked them, he said, do you care about gun control laws? And these guys laughed. They were like, no, because we don't follow the law anyway, or else we wouldn't be in jail. Duh. You know, murder is still illegal. It's been illegal for a very long time. People do it. The last time I checked, murder was banned, right? It's illegal. You cannot do it. You go to jail if you do it. Isn't that what gun bans do? If you have a gun, you end up going to jail because you're a terrorist. But yet people still murder. So there's your answer. You can make all the laws you want. It's not going to stop people from doing things. The push for your guns is not a push to make the world or this country any safer. It's to make it more easily controlled. Because if you can't fight back, then you can be smacked around like a little girl. You can be smacked around like an abused wife. Do you want that? I don't want to be an abused wife. I don't think any of us should be an abused wife. They're the abusive husband, and the citizens are the abused wife in the situation. And we need to stand up to the abusers. We need to tell them, no more of your abuse. No. We will not take it. We will stand up. We will find our own power and our own strength inside of us and make you irrelevant. That's how we beat them. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. We are back, ladies and gentlemen. So during the break, because this is how I roll, I wanted to actually go and find the audio, and I have it saved on multiple hard drives, but I wanted to actually find the audio, and I should have enough time to play both of them in here. Let me just make sure I'm going to have time. Both of them, I'll have time to play both of them and then talk for a few minutes afterwards. But last segment I was mentioning something, and I just decided, you know what, I'm gonna play this because people need to hear it. Because again, this keeps getting pushed in the media every day. Oh my God, guns are the problem. Guns are the problem. Guns are not the problem. What about the kid that was Elliot, whatever the frig his name was, the one that shot 3 people and stabbed the other 3 out in California and Santa Barbara a couple weeks ago? This is the reason why we need gun control. That's not a valid argument. He stabbed 3 of the 6 people he killed. Well, it's the NRA's fault. Really? It's the NRA's fault? He stabbed people? I don't see, again, there's no call for knife bans. So it's all garbage. If it doesn't make any rational, logical sense, you have to look at it and then say, well, how else could they benefit from this? And then that's when you start to go down the rabbit hole and you're like, oh, well, tyranny, I guess that would benefit from it. Because they're not calling for a knife ban. Remember, the guy stabbed 3 of the 6 people he killed. How come Walmart and Target haven't been SWAT team raided? You guys are selling butcher knives down on the floor. Throw like 15 flashbang grenades in there. Run, get on the ground. Right? How come you don't see that happening? Oh, because that's insane. That's why. No knife ban, no gun ban. Obviously, I don't believe in knife bans. You get my point. I'm saying if they're not going to call for a knife ban, then why call for, oh my God, we need knife control? No, you don't hear that. We need gun control, though, and it's the NRA's fault that everything happens. So it's such crap. It really is. I don't care if it was one of the victim's fathers that said it. You're wrong, sir. You're wrong. I understand you were emotionally, overcharged. The media is at fault for dragging you up there. I mean, let's say it's not, I know some people, oh, it's staged. Okay, let's say it's not a staged event. Even if it's completely real, right? They shouldn't have put him up there because he's in an emotional state. And they ought to know that making an emotional statement like that, you're not thinking logically. But the news media doesn't present it to you that way, do they? Nope. It's all about the appeal to emotion. Anyway, keep hearing about the Australian gun ban, Australian style, and the push for we need to get rid of them. Well, I mentioned South Africa and I mentioned Australia. I'm going to play both clips here for you so you can hear what I was talking about. I said I've played this before and you have to go back and listen. Well, yeah, I do want you to go listen, but I dug it out for you. So here we go. First, gun control in South Africa. Now remember, I said to you that they're carjacking the cops and they take their guns. You'll hear them talk about it. Listen.
If you don't have firearms, that means the criminals can walk into my house, rape my wife, kill my kids, do exactly what they want, and I'll basically be powerless to stop it.
They say that this is a democratic country. So make it a democratic country. Give the people the right to have guns, to protect yourself.
I wouldn't say it's a black and white issue. It's a government versus the people issue.
My personal freedom is at stake.
South Africa, a society increasingly divided against itself, between the haves and the have-nots, between armed predators and disarmed victims, and between the government and the governed. Now that government is plotting with the gun ban movement, blaming the country's rampant violent crime on individual freedoms.
There's no way you reduce the crime rate by taking away the lawful firearms. That's committing suicide.
That's a police officer in South Africa, just so we're clear. When you watch the video, you can go right on YouTube, type in gun control in South Africa, and it'll be one of the first videos that pops up. It's from the NRA. Oh, it's NRA propaganda. No, they went down there and they interviewed these people. Hate the NRA or not hate the NRA, I think they're completely useless most of the time. But at least they did this, and they interviewed these people so you could see what really happens. Okay, so let's just take away the political posturing and all that for a minute. You just heard a cop tell you that gun bans are useless. He's also the one that tells them that the cops are getting carjacked. Listen.
The long-term agenda is without a doubt to disarm the private civilian. There's no question about that.
Total disarmament. They want to make South Africa a country where the ordinary citizen will not have a firearm.
Reducing gun ownership by passing more gun laws in a country that already has some of the strictest in the world. now pushing a lifetime limit of 1 firearm for self-defense, compelling all registered gun owners to reapply, and increasing licensing fees, an open all-out war against private firearm ownership.
Our ultimate goal in gun-free South Africa is no guns in private hands at all. That's our long-term aim.
Unfortunately, the politician that says that he's got 6 bodyguards that he carries with firearms, no less, that protect him. So yes, normal rules don't apply to him. Normal crime does not apply to him. They must get into the real world.
The real world where justice turns a blind eye and crime knows no boundaries.
It's happening to you, and it's happening to your family, and it's happening to people you know all the time. And it doesn't stop. It doesn't go away. It just gets worse and worse every day.
A fisherman attacked by 2 criminals, one with a record a mile long and armed with a stolen 9mm pistol.
That gun was coming straight at my head, and it was going to be used. If I had not been armed, I would have been dead. It's that simple.
A farmer whose father was shot to death. Now, there are as many as 15 senseless murders on farms every month.
The police haven't got the capacity to protect the people, so he's got to do it himself. And that is being taken away from him now with the new legislation.
And police officers carjacked, targeted for their guns. The numbers startling. Since 1994, nearly 1,300 police officers killed in the line of duty.
The guys are dying out here. Just outside our unit, we had a policeman killed about 3 weeks ago. And it's bad, and it's not getting any better.
Families who can afford security have locked themselves in, hoping to lock the criminals out, living in high-walled compounds surrounded by electric fences and razor wire.
We have become prisoners in our own home.
And don't tell these people living in the townships that tougher gun laws will make their communities safer. Terror is a constant companion because the lawless have free rein.
Many of the people here in the township we talked to didn't want to be interviewed on camera for fear of speaking out or being disloyal to the government they elected. But at the very same time, they say, this is not what they expected. They finally elected a government they thought would give them the freedom to own a firearm, and now that very same government they entrusted wants to deny them and every other law-abiding South African that right. But for these people here, a firearm is their only insurance, their only protection, because they can't afford security and they can't rely on the police.
If you phone the police, you tell them, I've been attacked on gunpoint. They say, no, come down to the station. We are also afraid we won't come. They come down and report their matter and open up a case.
Quite often, in many cases, they have raped the man's wife or his daughters in his presence because they have the firearm and he had absolutely nothing to defend himself. Now that is really tragic.
Ha! Police admit they're undermanned, undertrained, and outgunned by criminals. Storage rooms at police departments filled with illegal confiscated guns, AK-47s and sawed-off shotguns, taken away from street thugs who aren't taken off the streets.
The criminal in this country has to be taught to fear the law-abiding citizen. Because at this stage of the game, they do exactly what they want to who they want. And nobody stops them.
Police who can't protect the people, a justice system that won't, and a government that doesn't trust its citizens to protect themselves, insisting on stripping them of their gun rights.
It's a movement fueled behind the scenes right here at the United Nations, backed by a well-financed global network that's gaining manpower, money, and momentum fast.
The global mission would be a relatively gun-free future for the world's people.
The funding for this particular draft, the proposed legislation, has come from a number of sources. The two prominent ones are the United Kingdom. The British government provided money. The United Nations Crime Commission provided funding.
It's a movement in which South African gun owners know they're not the first and won't be the last. But they're not willing to give up or give in because they've learned firsthand that a nation's freedom depends on their right to bear arms.
If the government wants to take our firearms back, they're declaring war.
We're not going to buy into this, and whatever it takes, we'll do it.
If the government wants the firearms from us, they must come and collect the firearms. And I'm not going to just hand it over to them. The day they disarm us that'll be the end.
A global threat, a tide of total firearm prohibition, and a plea to American gun owners for a united front to meet it head on.
They must look out and they must support us in this whole situation, because if we're going to fall down, they're going to be the next.
What I would say to them is that they're sleeping through a revolution. When they wake up, it will also be happening in their own country.
In fact, it is happening in the USA.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, that's right out of South Africa. You have these people saying it's happening in the USA. If you don't wake up, it's going to happen in your backyard. And this was years ago. It doesn't have a date as to when. It was uploaded in 2009. I don't know when it was originally shot. It could have been originally shot back in 2009. So we'll say it at least dates back to 2009, if not even older. It looks to be a little bit even older than 2009. But again, South Africa and their gun control. And what did you just hear? You just heard that cop. When they were talking, you heard the cop. One of the ones that was talking, and I said that this one's the police officer. What did you hear him say? Cops are getting carjacked for their weapons. Now, the reason I wanted you to hear that is because I could have said it and you could have been like, oh, that's just hyperbole, friggin' Popeye, blah-bitty-blah-bitty-blah, just trying to get attention for his radio show, blah-bitty-blah-bitty-blah, bloviating, blah-bitty-blah-bitty-blah. Now you heard it. You heard it from a police officer in South Africa. The cops in South Africa are getting carjacked. They said that the 1 year was over 1,300 officers were killed in the line of duty. How many do we have here? A couple hundred get killed in the line of duty during the course of a year? And the ADL and the SPLC and everybody else and their mother is out there. Oh, my God! 1,300 cops in 1 year were killed in South Africa. 1,300. The cops are getting carjacked for their weapons because they're the only people that have them. So when the criminals need one, they literally, they're so brazen, they go and carjack the police and kill the cops for their weapons. Think about that for a second. Well, the cops are there to protect us. They're the ones getting offed and carjacked. Hello? That ought to tell you something. Pay attention. Next up, Australia's gun ban. Remember they said the other day, President Obama, Australia's gun ban has been great. It has stopped crime. Right, maybe some gun crimes went down, although they still have illegal guns there. But even though some gun crimes have gone down, now crimes like beating people to death with a bat, suffocation by plastic bag, and things like that have gone up. So murder hasn't stopped. It hasn't stopped the murders. But it says so statistically, look, because you're only looking at a certain set of numbers, people. Anyway, here we go. Australian-style gun control.
A gun buyback that forced law-abiding citizens to surrender their firearms in a nationwide roundup and meltdown of all semi-automatic firearms and pump-action rifles and shotguns. 640,000 ordinary conventional firearms confiscated and destroyed.
It was an absolute joke and a tragedy. I actually turned in 3 firearms, and it broke my heart.
I mean, it was 40 years of collecting, and I can't say it any other way than that. I felt sick. I had to hand them in, because if I didn't, I was going to jail.
There's no ifs or buts about that. By taking that gun away from me, they've stolen something from me.
A right stolen by their government, promising safety in return for its gun bans. But now citizens know the frightening truth. The cost of lost liberty can be measured in the loss of life.
It's become very, very obvious, even to blind Freddie, that the expenditure of $500 million has done absolutely nothing to reduce crime.
And it certainly didn't do what the government touted it would do, which was to reduce crime. It hasn't done that at all. In fact, there's been more.
This has been a lot of bull and hasn't really done much to help society and with its problems.
Cold, hard facts the anti-gun forces can no longer escape. Armed robberies have skyrocketed, up 69%. Assaults involving guns rose 28%. Gun murders increased 19%. And a new phenomenon? Home invasions jumped 21%. An increase politicians insist they can't explain because they're still trying to legally define what a home invasion is and what the penalty should be.
Part of the difficulty is that there is no clear definition of home invasion in the law.
Never cease to be amazed at the ingenuity of lawyers.
If the politicians want a pay rise, boom, that's done in 20 minutes. But to define home invasion, what a joke.
I have no trouble at all in defining what a home invasion is. I think if someone sets their foot inside your door uninvited, they are invading your home and your privacy.
And victims who have survived home invasions don't need a definition. They've lived through hours of terror. Arthur Field was tied up, his hands and feet taped, his phone lines cut, while two robbers ransacked his house.
And they jumped on me and knelt on my chest and grabbed me around the throat because I immediately started calling out, "Help."
I don't know how many men, they start smashing the windows. There was a lot of glass shattering, a lot of noise outside, and I stood in the kitchen, I was trembling.
The Zawadzkis remember thugs running through their home, demanding money, and threatening to kill them. Mr. Zawadsky says if he had a firearm, the suspects never would have gotten away.
Do you will stand, waiting till you get killed? Or you will defend yourself? Tell me true, you will defend yourself.
Scars that never heal. Citizens left powerless. But it's criminals who have been empowered and emboldened by the new gun laws because the innocent can't fight back.
What's happening today is that the offender, the bad guys, are happy to break into somebody's house. They're not frightened to break into somebody's house while they're at home.
Citizens denied the right to protect themselves by a justice system that won't.
Well, my opinion of the legal system here is it's absolutely weak. Weak as water. I mean, it's because they've just got no backbone. That the sentencing for various crimes is just pathetic.
And police who can't. They're undermanned and morale has never been lower.
It's very bad at the moment. It's never been worse. Since 1993, we've had a real decrease in over 230 sworn police officers in this state.
These policemen have joined the job, policewomen have joined the job to go out and do it, and they can't even attend at breaks or assaults because there's no vehicle to even get them there. I mean, that's just absolutely ridiculous.
Gun laws that have backfired. And Australians who have been forced to hide behind bars and deadbolts. Some are even installing extensive security systems because the firearms they still own that haven't been banned have to be locked up, unloaded, and unavailable.
I mean, get real. If I had someone break in here, I've got to go get the bolt, get the rifle, find the ammunition somewhere else, put it all together, and then defend myself. If this other person's got a firearm, it's going to threaten my life. No way. It doesn't bloody add up.
A political fraud. Gun bans that haven't made a difference, and gun owners now struggling to stop a growing momentum against them.
The people pushing the removal of guns from the Australian society are already saying that's only the first step, publicly. That's only the first step. Now we want the handguns, we want every other firearm.
They're warning to Americans, don't think it can't happen to you. It can, and it already is.
Unless you, as a firearms owner, get off your butt now and start to oppose those that want to take them off of you right here and now, I would say that within 5 to 10 years, the restrictions on gun owners in America will be similar to what happens in Australia.
Don't trust your politicians. Get in there, keep on their backs. Be a member of the NRA, be a member of your local gun club. Be part of the NRA.
Well, I wouldn't say be part of the NRA. Obviously, it was shot by the NRA, so they're going to say, be part of the NRA. Well, you don't have to join the NRA because they're pretty useless, but you do need to defend your right to defend yourself. See, here's the thing about gun ownership, ladies and gentlemen, and I could sit here and bloviate about it longer. I've only got about 5-6 minutes left, but honestly, gun ownership, if you understand it at a very basic level, is about personal responsibility. It's like having a fire extinguisher in your house. If you have a small oven fire, do you have to call the fire department if you can put it out with your extinguisher yourself? Or do you think it would be better just to call the fire department every time there's a fire, and that way the 5 or 10 minutes it takes for them to respond to the call, you know, traffic and firehouse, whatever, blah, 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 blah. It takes 5-10 minutes. By the time they get there, now it went from a simple oven fire to your entire place is on fire. Get the point? You'd have an extinguisher in your house, wouldn't you? Most of you have a fire extinguisher in your house, I would think, right? If you don't, then you need to. Personal responsibility, ladies and gentlemen. Owning a firearm, I know that they'd like to portray it as all these people are crazy. And yes, there are some people that, you know, maybe do own firearms. They're a little off the wall. But for the most part, owning a firearm, to the people that own it, it's a big thing when they get it, and they understand the responsibility that they have with it. It's about personal responsibility. It's about taking your own personal self-defense into your own hands. I refuse to be a victim. I will not allow myself to be a victim. Unlike that lady that you heard earlier, she said, that's why I played it 3 times. You kept hearing her say, it's okay. I guess he's going to have to kill me. Guess he's going to have to kill me. What happens if someone's going to kill you? Well, they're going to have to kill me. What? Are you nuts? I always tell you to take personal responsibility in your life, and that's what self-defense is, ladies and gentlemen. And don't get me wrong. I'm not going to tell you to go out and commit acts of violence, because that's wrong. Self-defense is not violence. See, there's 2 different things there. Well, you acted violently. No. Violence is if I'm walking down the street and somebody just out of nowhere tries to mug me or attack me. Self-defense is when I pull a piece and blow his brains out right there on the sidewalk, and then go have a cup of coffee while we wait for the police. That's self-defense. Huge difference. It's not violence to defend yourself. And when people see these families, they get airtime by the media afterwards. Well, you know, my son was killed by a gun owner, and I think the law should be changed because my son was a good boy and he wouldn't be dead. Your son robbed, in one case, this guy was robbing a place at gunpoint, and a concealed weapons owner was there, and he drew his weapon, and he shot and killed the one guy, and the other guy took off. And the family wants to go after and sue the guy that defended himself legally. He shouldn't have the right to carry that gun because my son would still be alive. Your son was committing armed robbery. If you're going to play with the big dogs, you're going to get bit. So if you don't want to get bit, then don't play with the big dogs. You want to live by the sword? You want to walk in with a gun in your hand, robbing a gas station? You want to be cool? You want to be a gangster? No matter where you're from, you think you're a thug? Doesn't matter what color you are, what race you are, it's all bullshit anyway. You think you're just a thug? You think you're a tough guy? So you're going to go rob a gas station? You're going to go rob a Denny's or 7-Eleven or whatever? You better watch out, because there's other people out there that are willing to take your life to defend theirs and everybody else's around you. Maybe that should make you think twice. Again, personal responsibility. You don't have the right to go and put a gun in someone's face and then expect them not to defend themselves. And your family is asinine for thinking that. Well, we're emotional and we demand retribution. I demand you should be demanding nothing, and I demand that you people shut up. I'm not going to be nice about it at all. I don't care. If your loved one wasn't committing a bad act, if they weren't doing something violent, I mean, there's, in the case I'm talking about, their security footage. They came in with guns. They pointed guns at the guy and at everybody else in there. When the guy had a chance, he drew his weapon and defended himself. Good for him. Do I wish we could live in a world where we didn't have to kill each other? You got that right. I wish we could evolve. I wish we could stop killing each other and move on. But again, that's a change of mindset, which is what I try to provide somewhat on this radio broadcast. But tonight, I needed to go off. Tonight, I was in a mood and fired up, and I needed to go off on this police state SWAT raid crap and all this gun control propaganda. I'm actually glad I thought about the Australian gun ban videos. Even though I told you, I do want you to go back and listen in the archives to the older shows I've done on gun control. Like I said, there's probably like 10 or 12 hours of stuff there. But I'm glad I was able to play that for you all because, you know, you heard me say it, and now you just heard it backed up with the source that I got it from. South African cops getting carjacked for their weapons. The Australian gun ban that Herr Obama is pushing. He says we should use it here. They have great results. You just heard the results from people on the ground in Australia, not from some windbag politician trying to sway your opinion. Pay attention.
This is Sparta!
They want to bring it here, and we can stop it. Let's not just sit back and idly bitch about it. Let's actually stop it and do something. Change this place for the better. All right, I'm out of time. As I always tell you, the solutions to our problems are an inside job, ladies and gentlemen. Personal responsibility is key. I love you all, and I'll catch you all again live tomorrow night. I'm out of here.